purpose of my next lesson.
Hello, everybody. How are you tonight? I'm good. I didn't get one done last night because I could never figure out how to do one on I got one of those iPad Pro things, and I couldn't figure out how to do a live because I don't know how to do the regular YouTube things anyway. So this is a live. So you get the authentic, unedited me. Lucky you, huh? Like I said last time, I think you probably only got like 93 more before I get really good at this. This is a leadership video. So as I talked about 2 or 3 videos ago, there's several different types of leaders: the informational, the motivational, inspirational, and transformational. This topic tonight is kind of one of all of them. Yeah. So, just a little bit of context of why I think, or how I think I can answer this question of what's the secret to figuring out why we're still where we're at, is because after 40 years of looking, I think I finally found out why I'm where I'm at. I've tried it all, looked at it all. I've been to college, never did finish. Started my own businesses, gone the psychology route, did some new age, some transformational work. In fact, I became certified in most of it. Became a firewalk instructor. Let's see, lots of different things. Went into business. I have about 40 years experience at that, and I'm only, well, more than 40, 50 actually. I'm only 53. But when I take out my college years and my 2 years of this and my year of that, I probably only have 45 years of experience. And all that time, I was looking for that secret, to find that success thing we're always looking for, whatever that is. And so I've read literally hundreds of books on leadership, on transformation, on inspiration, motivation, did all the Tony Robbins things, went to his seminars. Before him, it was different people. Rohn. Before him was Dennis Waitley. You can go back and, well, really, Think and Grow Rich was written back in 1937. As a Man Thinketh was written back in 1910, I think. And actually, I think there was somebody that said something about that in a book called The Bible, that As a Man Thinketh too. So, after all the hoopla and after all the thousands of dollars and hours and hours and hours and hours of searching, I think I finally found it. Yeah, it's been staring me in the face since I started. Because it is in the mirror where I actually found the secret. Because the secret is me. The secret to my success, the secret to my happiness is me. I went to a leadership training the other night, and it was hosted by our church, and the speaker was a revered authority in our church, and he said, "I'm going to try something new tonight. Instead of just teaching, I'm going to answer questions. And before we start, I want to make sure that I give inspired answers. And the only way I can give inspired answers is if I get inspired questions. So before you ask questions, check in with yourself and see if you already know the answer, or if you really have a question. So how do we find inspired questions? There are really 4 steps. There's only really 4 inspired questions, actually 5, but 4 or 5. There's who, what, where, how, and because. According to neuroscientists, our subconscious comes up with the answer to our question milliseconds before our conscious says it. So our subconscious is actually ruling us. We've got millions and millions, according to the neuroscientists. I don't know how they count that fast. Millions of amounts of data going through our brain, our mind at one time. And because the subconscious can't anywhere near pick up all that stuff, it filters out stuff. It filters out stuff due to our perceptions and our perspectives. And that's why we keep ending up in the same place we keep ending up, because we keep doing the same things we've been doing. We change a little bit. We mostly fall back to where we were. So that is why I've been harping so much, or been not harping. The leadership book that I found the most applicable to leadership in a long time is The 4 Tendencies, because we all have tendencies to do things. In the psychological world, back before all the ways to do all of the different studies and everything, it was called patterns. We have a pattern. And if we look back through our lives, we've run these patterns our whole lives. And just subconsciously, we do it. And so we need to wake up, be conscious. And the reason that this is important to leadership is because if we're going to lead somebody, we have to be able to understand who they are, how this is good for them, where they want to go. And instead of asking them why, ask them because. They figured out also, the neuroscientists have, which we thought, we were taught in the transformational world back 25, 30 years ago, is that I lost my train of thought now. is that the subconscious rules our mind, and that's why we have to do what we're doing. And that's why we do affirmations, to try to get new, different ideas in our mind. We do things to stretch our paradigms. Some of us don't. Some of us just want to keep doing the same things over and over again. But I've always been a searcher, looking for different ways. And so as leaders, as we start to figure out more and more who we're leading, it makes us much easier to lead them. And because as leaders, we want to develop leaders, except that's my thing. I've been looking for a purpose for a long time, and I think that this is my purpose, to help develop leaders. At least it's the one I'm working on right now. It might turn out not to be the one, but that's what we're doing right now. And so we need to find out who we're working with. Oh, yes, now I know what I was at. Yeah. Neuroscientists have found out that the more specific questions we ask, the more opportunity our brain has to get us where we want. If we ask open-end questions like why, okay, the brain, it's like putting why into a computer. You know, why does water split into 18 different things? It can't tell us why. It can tell us how it does it. It can tell us where it does it. It can tell us it does it because, but it can't tell us why. And that's the same with our mind. We need to give it direct questions. If we ask it, there is no way that you can stop this, and it can't be controlled. You know, if you look in the mirror and you ask it, how can I do things different today than I did yesterday? An answer will come to your mind. You might not like it. You might not do it. You do know the answer because it's coming to your mind, not to your subconscious, because it'll flicker in there, and then your subconscious will say, no, that's not that's not, you know. It's just the way the mind works, which is really cool, because when we learn how to grab that little bit of inspiration, then we can ask inspired questions. We can ask where. We can ask how. We can ask because. I did this because. That's different than why did this happen to me? This happened because. We can look back and we can, if we're blaming somebody, you know, then we have to look at it again, because there's nobody that can make us think what we don't want to think. We can think they have some kind of power, and if they have power over us, we have to look at who we're giving our power away to. So that's, again, a who question. That's a how question, how we're giving it away, where we first learned to give it away, what it is that we're afraid of, because we're all afraid of something. I've talked to a lot of different people, talked to Marines, I've talked to farmers, I've talked to parachute people. Everybody's afraid of something. They may not look at it as a fear, but are we afraid that something will happen to our family? Or if we're not afraid of for ourselves, we might be afraid of something else. Whatever it is that we're looking at that is limiting us is holding us back. And so that's the 5 kind of questions, I guess, or 4, because the answer we come up with, then we ask because. But there's how, who, what, and where. And then if it says you need to do this, you can ask because. And as soon as you ask because, your mind will answer you. You don't have to ask because of what. It'll answer you. Just learn to trust your mind, trust your inspiration, ask inspired questions. Doesn't matter whether you are religious or not, whether you, because the mind works the same for everybody. It works the same for everybody. Yes, I believe that there is a higher power. In fact, I've never talked to anybody that hasn't. Maybe an alien, maybe a rock, you know. But most everybody has somebody that they meditate to, or ponder with, or think about, or hope to get inspiration from, or guidance from, or there's just all kinds of different words instead of having to use inspiration. But we all want to be inspired, and that's the way to get it. So once we figure out what kind of tendencies we have, we can figure out what inspires us, what motivates us, what drives us. Then we can find out what that does for other people, and it just makes our life easier. Be better in our relationships, better in our businesses, better with our families, and we might learn to like ourselves. All right. Good night. Oh, I keep thinking this is my iPad, and I keep pushing that stream thing, but guess what? That does not work. I got to go like this, move the arrow over here.